Hey, what's up? Biz here. Today I'm getting ready to install the Tki Cnc belt drive on my 2020 Polaris Axys. Now the Axys already comes with a belt drive, but you're limited to that stock gearing. I'm going to be installing a turbo and I want to gear down, so the Tki Cnc belt drive gives me that option. And then it's also going to include a tensioner, which is going to help increase belt life. I know the first thing we need to do is set the brakes because we're going to be pulling the gears off. But let's go ahead and check out what's in the box and get started on the install.
All right, so here we have the kit, and we got the bottom gear. Everything's going to be billet and anodized black. And then we have the top gear. Now I got the 29 tooth. It'll have two kind of retaining clips or collars to keep the belt in line. Really nice, clean stuff. Of course, then you have the belt tensioner and the accompanying mounting bracket. This is going to be the key to maintaining belt life and aggressive performance. We got a bag of bolts and, of course, the Gates quick drive belt. The first thing we're going to want to do is remove the bolt from the top gear. We're going to be using a 15mm socket for that. Now we're going to want to save that bolt and the accompanying washer because we're going to reuse that. TKI includes a new bolt for the bottom gear. I guess there was a problem with the OEM bolts failing. That's also going to be a 15mm socket. Once we have them loosened up, we give them a gentle nudge with the pry bar, then they'll come right off. Next thing, we're going to look at the two T40 bolts that are in the chassis. Now these are going to have that Lord's glue on it, so this is sped up, but it's going to take about a minute. You want to put a bunch of heat on that to soften up that glue that Polaris uses, and then the bolt should come out no problem. Now we can go ahead and put the new top gear in place. Now it only goes in one way. You can see one collar is a little bit deeper than the other. The deeper collar is going to go on first, and then on the gear itself it'll have the size, like this one will have the 29T engraved on one side. That side will be facing out, and then you can put on the outside retaining collar. For the bottom gear, you'll see one side is raised and the other side's kind of flat. You want to put the raised side toward the snowmobile. Now we can also set the tensioner in place. We're going to need to take a 9/16 wrench and loosen up the tensioner first from the bracket so that we can get access to the mounting hole. I like to tighten it down so it's not flopping around while I'm mounting it. The two holes where we removed the T40 bolts from. Now TKI has supplied two M8 bolts. We want to drop a little Loctite on those and then insert them into place on the tensioner bracket. Once we have them secured, we want to set those with a torque wrench, 25 foot-pounds. Next, we'll be putting the bolts in the new top and bottom gear. Just want to drop a little Loctite on those. The bottom gear will be getting the new bolt from TKI, and we'll be reusing the OEM bolt for the top. Both of them should have the OEM washers in place. Both of these will need to be torqued to 40 foot-pounds. The top's still going to be that 15 mil from the factory, but the new bolt on the bottom is a 1/2 inch bolt. Now we have the belt tensioner bolt and the locking nut. Those can be threaded into the back of the tensioner bracket. Now we can loosen up that tensioner again with the 9/16 wrench. Grab our Gates belt. Now I like to put the words facing so you can read it, but it doesn't really matter. The belts are non-directional. You'll also notice a blue compound, a lubricating compound on the inside of the belt. Some of that's going to fly off during the initial operation after install. It's easy to clean up and will only happen that one time. Now we're just going to set the tension by hand and kind of lightly lock everything down, as we will reset it once we move the track a little bit, and then again once we get the sled up to proper operating temperature.
All right, now that we got the kit installed, the only thing left to do is properly tension the belt, and that can only be done by riding the snowmobile. The motor has to be brought up to operating temp, and then you can tension the belt properly. There's a great video I'll include in the comments above or in the description that Tom Kobza has done from TKI that explains belt tensioning and how to properly set that. Thanks for following along, and remember, stay hydrated, drink your water, and I'll see you on the mountain.